Ladies and gentlemen, filmmakers and moviegoers alike, welcome to this critically casual, right time, wrong date. I'm your host, Recuffs, and joining me as always is the amazing Dorky Dev. What's up, Dev? One of those kind of days, huh? I'll be honest though, watching these movies really made me want to watch Shaun of the Dead. But for now, I guess we'll just stick with the movies we stuck to, and we'll get on with our daily dull droning lives, right? All right. So today, I called today's show because I'm so amazingly clever and original at all times. ZAMBEES. I actually called it ZAMBEES. Isn't that clever? Thanks for agreeing with me, man. I love this. So yeah, we're talking about we're talking about Dawn of the Dead 1978, and then Dawn of the Dead, the serious remake in 2004, and then we'll compare them and wrap everything up. And yeah, that's the show. Any questions, anybody? Dev, questions? All right. And with that in mind, let's get ourselves started and start talking about the 1978 version of Dawn of the Dead. Very informative. So have you been bit recently?
Further into that bit longer than I expected.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, but I liked it.
Real quick, came out. It's the 78 version, but it came out May 24th, 1979 in the U.S. It was referred to the 78 version because I believe it released earlier elsewhere, right?
Maybe
Italy. It released in Italy in 78, so that's why it's referred to as that. With a budget of $650 estimated dollars. Doesn't really give me box office for it, but I could probably find it through Box Office Mojo. So really, you want to know my only complaint about, and it's directed and written by George A. Romero.
Okay.
Only major complaint I have.
What's that?
This movie's long.
You know, yeah, it's 2 hours and 7 minutes long. It's long.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you don't have more complaints. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of things we could complain about.
I mean, it's a product of its time.
Absolutely.
Honestly, part of me kind of enjoys this more than I do the new one.
Really?
Yeah, in its own little campy way. Because it knows what it's trying to be, so it's just kind of having fun with it.
Yeah, I was about to say, at some point, they kind of just say, fuck it, and just go all in on just zombies are not really that much of a menace. At least in this version of the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of things that caught my attention. Though it is definitely a product of its times. Like, one of the things that stood out to me the most, honestly, was the music. It was definitely all like 1980s synth style music, which was
early 80s, late 70s.
Yeah, it was fine and all, but it made me feel like I was in a sci-fi adventure. And I don't really consider zombies sci-fi. They're definitely fiction, but are they science fiction?
They're sort of science fiction.
Okay.
I'd say they're niche science fiction. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like their own kind of like niche group of science fiction, because like the science fiction of it is the fact that like some sort of disease or something has turned people into this.
Okay.
So I could see science fiction being a part of it, but I wouldn't consider it science fiction in the sense of like a Back to the Future, Star Wars, Star Trek, a Dune, stuff like that.
Yeah, this is definitely not that. That's for sure. And I actually have a lot of notes specifically just about the sound mixing in this movie. Like the music I felt was a little out of place, but it worked fine. But beyond that, the music itself was always way too loud. Like
Agreed.
there were many times where you could barely hear the voices, and the voices would be like yelling at each other. And it's like, "Hey, we need to do this. What? I can't hear you over the synthesizer." Oh,
Yeah, I can agree with that.
and then the other thing about the sound that I didn't enjoy about this movie either was they never had a sound for physical things happening. Like if a zombie got stabbed or somebody was like punched, there was a close up on it, but there was never like a sound effect with it. It was just silence.
That
And
is also true.
yeah. So that caught my eye, and that was just sound stuff. I like there's definitely talk that I could do about the racism in this movie, but that's
But I think that's one of the underlining like things that this movie was trying to address, right? If I remember, like was it trying to address that, or was it just because that was the time, and so it
this
became underlining because of the time? I don't remember my history on this movie super well.
this movie, it's kind of both, honestly. It's like this movie is exploitative of people of color for sure. But it's because at the time people were afraid of people of color. So it's like it's weird because it's not necessarily an exploitation film, or it's but it's not also at the same time doing any good for the movie or the people who are in the movie. Like the beginning, like for instance, very beginning of this movie starts with people in like black and brown face, and then all of the early zombies are all African Americans,
Yeah.
every single one of them. uh,
Yeah.
and then like don't get me wrong though, because the origin of zombies, this is actually something I wanted to talk about. The origins of zombie actually do come from voodoo origins, which is something that is talked about in this movie. But that's part of the thing that I was disappointed by too, because they talk about the voodoo origins of zombies from the one black character who's like, "Yeah, my grandfather was into voodoo," and it's like that's just a stereotype, man. Because he's a person of color, his grandfather did voodoo, and
Yeah.
it's that stuff stuck out to me. But if we get past that as well, the next thing that stuck out to me with this movie is the fact that there isn't really a plot. A bunch of
I
stuff
think that's
happens.
my other problem. I think that's why I have the issue with it being too long, is because there's a middle part where nothing is happening,
Mm-hmm.
and that could just get cut.
Oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that could get cut from this movie.
This movie could be 30 minutes shorter and be a lot better.
Mm-hmm. 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 Especially too because it comes down to like some of the ending sequences with like the raiders. That whole clown sequence really is what it felt like. A whole like we were watching a circus is what it felt like.
Yeah.
Especially when they started doing the I was like, oh really? Exactly. Exactly. And then the worst part about
I
that
recreated that pretty damn well.
and the worst part about that too is that song actually kind of follows through a lot of zombie tropes going on. Like after I watched this movie, I watched a whole bunch of other zombie movies because I just had to, you know.
Yeah, I know you.
Yeah, so I watched The Dawn of the Dead, I watched The Day of the Dead, I watched Land of the Dead. Like there's a couple of others that I can't remember at the moment. But a bunch of those movies make references to Dawn of the Dead movie, as well as just have segments of one of them. And I'm like, no, this does not belong in a zombie movie.
But it does, Steven. It's part of the archetype now.
It does, yes. It's very campy. Additionally, the one last thing that I want to complain about when it comes to this movie is the makeup.
Oh, wait. 28 Days Later had that issue, too.
Which, what is she, sorry?
I
think it did,
we
yeah.
had that issue with that, too, because it was that whole, like, the drive thing.
Mhm.
They were like, this whole drive needs to be cut. Nothing is happening. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, no, this this created the archetype of that.
This movie created the archetype of every zombie movie afterwards. Like, watching this movie, I was like, okay, 28 Days Later, Zombieland, Shaun of the Dead. Like, those are just popular movies that I could think of that were directly, this directly could have inspired.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to watch all of those movies. I actually think I did watch Zombieland. I watched a lot of zombie movies. I like zombies, and I hate them.
Yeah,
I like them.
You zombie.
Let's see. There's some things that I did enjoy about this movie too. Like, I enjoyed some of the setups that they had. Like, they did a mannequin setup where one of the guys sees a mannequin and it's a mannequin and he gets scared by it, and then like 30 minutes later he's walking by and then the mannequin's a zombie the second time. It's like, ooh, that's cool. Let's see. Other words, like, there's not really much else I want to say about this movie because that's really just it. It's definitely a product of its time. There's racism, there's misogyny in here, especially when it comes to like your main character, which I'm disappointed because his name is Steven and he's an asshole.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Good thing I'm not that Steven. And I'm this Steven. He's only sometimes an asshole.
Little did he know, he wasn't just a little bit of an asshole.
It's like that meme where I'm the front astronaut looking down at the Earth, and Steven's always an asshole. I'm always an asshole. Always have been.
Always have been. It's me behind you. Always have been.
Exactly. But yeah. But then this movie does a whole bunch of other stuff that I just felt really out of place the whole time. Like the semi sequence, there's no explanation why they decided to start moving the semis, but then they do. And it makes sense after they do it. But when they're doing it, there's like, why are we doing this? You're just wanting to put intention in this movie? Okay.
Well, no, they kind of explain it beforehand. I'll defend that.
All right.
They say, like, yeah, we move those trucks that we saw on our way over here. We can block the entrances. So they do say that, but it's like a one line.
Yeah, it's one line, but it's not right before they do it either. It's like 20 minutes before they do it. And then they like
talk about that they're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's discussion of why Francine needs to stay inside.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's all right, let's get to the roof. All right, let's get the copper. All right, let's go get the trucks. All right, let's now get the trucks back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just takes a bit.
It takes a long bit.
I don't know. This movie's like back and forth with me, like if I liked it more or less than the other one.
Okay. I could say without a doubt that I like the other one better myself.
I mean, that's fair, but it's a more modern interpretation. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really care for either of these on this recent rewatch.
Okay.
Like upon rewatch, like I didn't really like either of them.
Okay.
Because there's better zombie stuff out there.
That's not wrong. For instance, the 1982 Day of the Dead movie was pretty good.
Or I could just watch the first two seasons, like some of the good seasons of Walking Dead. I could watch iZombie.
iZombie? That one's not bad, yeah.
Listen, iZombie's great. Fuck you.
I mean, iZombie, why the hell? It's just weird that she's like, I can see the memories of the people's brains I eat.
It's a comic book based with zombies. Fuck off. They have powers. Deal with it.
Vampires have powers, not zombies.
These zombies have powers. Resident Evil zombies have powers.
Resident Evil zombies are mutated pieces of shit. And you should know that from firsthand experience, since I'm still waiting for you to finish that game. So, is there anything else in this first movie that we want to talk about, or are we good to switch on to the next one?
I'm going to switch on to the next one.
All right, so Dev, here's your popcorn kernels. How many are you going to give to the 1978 version of Day of the Dead?
Honestly, I might just give it 5.
5? 5.
Yeah, it's just very middle of the road for me.
Okay. So I was actually gonna give it a 6.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
6.5 or 5.5.
Yep, 5.5. It's just because I like it. Like, don't get me wrong, it's definitely not something I'll show to other people. Like, I watched this movie growing up, and they're like, "Why are you not more racist?"
You could just say where you grew up.
That's true. So, all right, let's move on. Let's start talking about. Did I really do a typo? That's disappointing. The Dawn of the Dead from the 2004. I accidentally put a 9 for some reason.
2009. Okay, you know what you could do? You could just add a, just create a text and put a 4 over it.
Yeah, I'll just 4.
You can do it real quick. You could just because you're gonna add a text to your the OBS scene.
Add text. Add text.
Listen, this gives me time to change something that I forgot to change after the show
Okay.
earlier this week. Because I did show off your what you did, by the way, the thing that you made.
Oh, the opening graphic. Ah, come on.
Or not the opening graphic, the list of movies.
Oh, nice. Oh,
Because the reason I did that was just because we didn't know if we were gonna pull off another show this week.
Yes. Understandable.
So I showed it off then.
I have got her.
Like, and before anyone's like, "Oh, you didn't think Steven and you guys would be able to pull it off?" No, because there was a moment where Steven's power was off for 24 hours, and his work week is extremely different than my work week. So, trying to schedule this podcast on another day is hard.
Yeah.
So there was a part of me that was like,
dude,
we're gonna pull this off.
Dude, literally 2:00 today. Sitting here, movie had just finished. Got a call from my boss being like, "Hey, you want to come into work?" It's like, "Are you kidding me? You said I had the day off. It's been most of the day, and now you want me to come into work? I have a podcast tonight. I need to finish this movie. I've got other things I need to do. No, not today. Thank you. Sorry."
All right, it's submitted and it's below now. So
all right,
there we go. I did the thing.
Yay, the thing has been done. We actually changed the graphic. It took a whole year for me to do it.
Year.
But I did it.
Oh, we fucking suck sometimes.
Yeah.
I love it. I fucking love it. You have no idea. The fact that that graphic has been since last Thanksgiving, it just tickled me for so long.
Yeah, I stared at it and I was like, that's just the epitome of my laziness right there. It's a monument to me being a lazy asshole. I should do something about it. But so the 1 year anniversary, like a good idea.
Yeah, I'm cool with it taking that long because it's a funny joke now.
Yeah.
And now we'll leave it for another year.
Probably. Yeah.
Dawn of the Dead 2004. I love the text, by the way. That's fucking awesome.
Just thrown over the top.
Yeah. This was actually, I didn't realize who all was actually attached to this.
Oh.
Because I mean, it's got George A. Romero as one of the writers, but also James Gunn did the screenplay, and Zack Snyder did the directing. I didn't realize that they were attached to this. Kind of interesting.
I love it. I'm like, there's part of the news that I'm excited to talk about too. So
it's such a weird mashup of people that I didn't expect to be attached to this.
This is the only horror film Zack Snyder has ever done.
And I could see it. It's definitely got some slow-mo moments where I'm like, oh yeah, this is now like replaying in my head. I'm like, yeah, that's Zack Snyder. Because it released on March 19th of 2004 with a budget. Let me scroll down here. Of $26,000, opening U.S. Weekend. $26,000 or 26 million. Sorry, 26 million for budget, 26 million for opening U.S., 59 for U.S. gross, and then 100 million for worldwide. So you know, it did 4 times its budget roughly, which is pretty good. A little under 4 times. So I mean, it made its money back then some. So not bad. I do have to say I have to dock a point.
Why is that?
I'm going to stay consistent with why I docked a point on Freddy versus Jason. There is a unnecessary F slur. That's a point dog
Okay.
for me. But because it's consistency and like for people to understand why I'm doing that, it's because there's a way to write that in where the story is more centered around someone dealing with the trials and tribulations of being someone in the LGBTQ community
Mm-hmm.
instead of just being thrown in there as an insult.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of those movies that just throws it in to be an insult.
Hooray for early 2000s.
Yay.
Right.
So, docking a point for that. Other than that, I do enjoy this movie in a lot of ways, but at the same time, there's a lot of this movie that I'm just like, man, it's either nothing is happening
Mm-hmm.
or everything is happening.
Yeah, they do in moments have where they're sitting there and it's just discussion, where they're trying to build the stakes with the character development in between. But ultimately, a lot of the character development doesn't even matter. Especially when it comes to the end of the movie, what ends up happening.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you're not going to dock it points for some of the terrible CG in this movie. Like,
It's consistent.
that's true. It's consistent through the whole movie.
The worst is the fire.
Yes.
Fire in this is awful.
The fire going off is awful. Especially when they do the big explosions.
Watching it. Yes. I remember before rewatching this time, how bad that fire was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna have some bad fire at some point. I can't remember where it is, but I'll know. And then the propane thing happens. I'm like, oh, this is the part where I see the bad fire.
Oh yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, it's just, there's no need to explain it. It's just really bad. Additional things that caught my attention that were bad were like a car crash early on where a van like T-bones another car. You can very clearly that's all CG.
I didn't even notice that was CG. I'm
Really?
not gonna lie, because I wasn't focused on it.
Oh, okay.
It's background, so
Mhm. Yeah, I mean
that's why.
it's radio as it's dollying in on the car.
Oh,
That's
that one.
Yeah.
Okay, that one. I thought you were meaning one like behind that.
no.
Like behind the like when she's leaving the neighborhood.
Mhm.
That's when I thought that was. I wasn't realizing you were talking about the one where it goes into the gas station and blows up that.
Mhm.
That one was bad.
Yeah.
Yes. But like that whole effect is bad. So again, it's just consistency. It's bad, so it's bad.
Yeah.
So I can block it out.
Other things that I didn't enjoy about this movie was the overuse of the close-up slow motion. Like, we didn't need it to see a cartridge fall on the ground.
Yeah.
We didn't need a hero pose slow motion.
There's so many of those too, it feels like.
There's
so many of the
Yeah, slow-mo. No, yeah, it's 100%. There's a lot of that stuff. And then there's a lot of random, like, he likes to scare people by, like, I'm throwing my keys on the ground, and the keys are really loud because it's a close-up of just the keys. Oh, ow, my ears are bleeding.
Yeah.
I
don't think there was any scares in this for me though, because jump scares don't really get me. So
no. Yeah, I wouldn't really call this movie scary, but I definitely was very much entertained. Like, I was sitting here like, ooh, I know what's happening. Ooh, this part's so cool. Especially because they do.
Again, this is your film though. This is your kind of movie.
Yeah, especially because they do things that I really enjoy, like the progression of both Luda and her storyline, as well as just the zombies in general. How in the beginning they're normal humans, and by the end they're gray and falling apart, and because it just shows the progression of time in their world. But then there's also dumb things that I don't enjoy, like character decisions like, hey, I have a metal crowbar. You know what I need? A wooden mallet instead. That's gonna kill some zombies.
Jesus Christ. Forgot about that, and I'm like, bro, what?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Yeah. It's like, okay, sure, you're gonna die, but whatever. I mean, he didn't.
Like, if it was a bat, sure.
No. Yes.
But a croquet mallet.
Yeah. I got a mallet. It's fine. I'm gonna win. As well as the kill mobiles, as I call them. Like, those things.
I love those. Okay, that's one of those machines are fucking. Me and my friends have always joked that like we would buy a bus and trick it out just like that for the apocalypse.
Like, I like it, and it's definitely part of the reason why I will watch this movie again and again and again, because this is like the casual me who's just like, oh my goodness, I love this. It's so silly and dumb. It's perfect. Like this, I'm assuming this is how you react when you watch a Need for Speed movie.
Oh yeah, probably. This is probably exactly how I react to those. Because like again, for me, it's just the brain turns off, and I'm like, I'm just going to enjoy this.
Mm-hmm. That's what I did.
I'm not surprised because this is definitely more your wheelhouse, though. It's horror.
Yeah.
Well, action's more my wheelhouse. I don't know. It's just like there's certain things that like I liked more in the other one. Like I guess like there's a style to the other one that I like more, if that makes sense.
A style, the campiness
Like,
behind it.
yeah, I think the campiness, like that, I kind of enjoy more. But at the same time, there's stuff in this that are just better. Like it's just better written.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it feels like the people are more real in a lot of ways, but at the same time, sometimes in no ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like who would start a chainsaw looking at someone?
He wasn't looking at her. He was about to face it out the way. But no, I understand.
That part always fucking gets me.
I love their practicality too. Like every single one of the things, like the blood splatters, was real. They would use dummies. They'd put little gel packs, like they'd spear people and it'd go through their heads, and it was real fake blood. They made a mannequin of her that they split and cut over with, and
It's still not discussed how he dies in that scene.
yeah, it's not. He just manages to be dead. So I was confused
Maybe
about
he
that
hits
too.
his head. That's the only thing I can think of is he hits his head as the bus tumbles.
Yeah, that's the. I mean, it was a pretty major accident. So.
But the roll, it doesn't roll. It just falls over, and he's on that side, so he's not going to fall super far.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thought process. I don't know. It's a weird scene.
Mm-hmm. They just needed less people on the boat.
Rock the boat, baby.
And then still other characters' decisions, like chasing after a fucking dog.
Oh my god,
Mm-hmm.
I hate that.
Yeah, that made me really mad.
I still hate that.
Don't get me wrong, I love my animals, but I don't think I would intentionally leave a safe place to go get my dog back.
Well, the fact of the matter, the dog made it all the way there, so the dog's fine. You know the dog's going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
The dog made it from point A to point B without being attacked.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Yeah, but she has to have her dog.
You can go get the dog later because you have to go there to get the guns.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you're gonna go there anyways. Just go there when you're gonna go there. At that point, you already know the dude's dead. So just go there later.
Mm-hmm. Pick him up whenever.
No.
Pick up Chip.
Yeah.
He'll probably
Chip
survive.
Can be fine.
Yeah, he'll survive for like a day or two without food. He'll eat the zombie.
Dog. I don't know. It's one of those weird things that just doesn't seem smart. I don't know. There's some bad writing, but I think the bad writing in this is better than the bad writing in the other one.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just the campiness of the other one is what I kind of like about it more.
I hear you.
Honestly, overall, I probably would say this one's better. But I think there's a like goofiness to the other one that I kind of enjoy in a weird way because you don't see that a lot.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. I probably wouldn't make a zombie film like the original Dawn of the Dead. No. I mean, unless I was intending to make a horror comedy. But I still don't think I would do that. And one other complaint I actually have about this movie is a lot of like fast things happen in the action. Like what ends up happening to Michael towards the end of the movie. It's almost like it's very hard to see what happened to him and why he made his decision. It's like they had to show his arm afterward, I guess, to make it understandable.
Well, I mean, it's kind of shown that like something gets here,
Mm-hmm.
and then they do that cut where he looks at it, but he doesn't show it yet.
It's very quick.
And you see him do this.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, he should have been the one to do the save at the bus,
Mm-hmm.
while Terry gets away. Or not Terry,
CJ.
CJ.
I agree with you. If he knew he was going to stay behind, should have stayed behind sooner.
Yes.
Another character decision. Just for the dramatics at the end, you know?
Like how that scene should have played out is CJ and him being the last ones there, and him being like, CJ, go. I've been bit. I'll hold him off.
Mm-hmm.
CJ goes, and as he's going over there, Anna's like, where's Michael? He's been bit. We need to go. Get on the boat, and they leave.
Mm-hmm.
Done. End movie. I do appreciate the short credits at the end.
Absolutely.
Because they do an opening credits, which for the 2000s isn't common.
No, they stopped doing that a long time ago.
So they do an opening credits where it actually plays into the movie in a way. It just discusses what's going on in the world, essentially.
Yeah.
While Anna's knocked the fuck out.
Even though she's only knocked out for like an hour, maybe at most.
Maybe at most.
Because there were zombies right where she was knocked off, but she survived in the woods by herself.
Well, door was closed.
Was it?
Yeah. I think. I bought it, so it's on our thing. You could check.
Yeah, we could.
If you want to check me on that, I think the door was closed, though.
I'll double check, but I don't think it was. It doesn't take long. There might be a little zombie yelling in the background while I set this up.
You can just mute it. Yeah, but it saves us to go for DMCA, bro. We gotta do with DMCA, like, no.
I don't think we're big enough to have. I'm just kidding.
Dude, don't even tempt fate. I swear to fuck. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like I don't mind that working. But it does do news dump is news dump, and this movie does news dump is news dump a lot.
A lot.
So that's always kind of annoying. It's the worst way for exposition.
So, it looks like the door was closed. However, the driver's side window is shattered. So there's nothing.
Okay, so we're both right. In the sense that you're right that she was exposed, but I'm right that the door is closed.
Well, actually, it doesn't show her opening the door.
So the door's opened?
Yeah, hang on, I'll throw it up here. Going over to the news with a view. So if you could see here, officer, your honor, this is the view that we see of her when she first gets out of the vehicle. Or when we first see her in the vehicle. You can tell that there's no glass obscuring her. And then when you jump ahead, you can see that the markings here, it kind of looks like where the door would be closed. It's open. Like, yeah. And then when you jump ahead another couple seconds here, she's on the ground and they don't show her opening the door.
But go back to the scene where the car rolls.
Scene where the car rolls. Oh, yeah, because the door's open when she's driving away. Hits the thing. Oh, yeah, door pops open.
Okay, you're right. You're right. I'll concede point.
Haha! She should be dead. The movie never should have happened.
And for once, Steven was right on a memory thing. I think that's the first where you've beaten me.
I actually paid attention.
Fucking leave it to a zombie movie. Just even to pay attention to minor details. Leave it to a horror movie for me to miss a minor detail. Jesus. If that doesn't state how this show always fucking goes. The one time it flips, it's because it's one person's strong suit, the other person just not caring as much. You throw me fucking How to Train Your Dragon, and our ass is over here. They were spotted!
No, they're still just one.
There's a fucking holiday special, you can see them!
I know.
Fucker!
Yes, I am. Alright, I don't know if there's anything else non-spoilery comparison-y that I want to talk about. Oh, there's occasionally they had some peaking microphone problems where it's like someone was falling over while they were yelling, and
Yeah.
their lavalier mic got too close to them, but they didn't redo it later.
Yeah. There's weird ADR moments in the sense that like sometimes they don't ADR when they should have, and then there's times where they ADR and it's like, dude, that doesn't sound anything like with that room. It sounded like 2 seconds ago. What? Early 2000s were a weird time.
They were. Especially my favorite part of this movie, the Zambaby. I loved your reaction to the Snapchat I sent you.
What, you could see that what my face was probably underneath the mask?
Yeah, I could see it. Especially, that's part of the reason why I called today Zambe. Zambees, Zambabies. That was interesting, and I'm both thankful that no one has done something similar to that since. No, I mean there's one movie where you see zombie babies, but I'm kind of thankful that we don't get to see like birthing sequences like that again, because that was just gratuitous.
That wasn't lovely. I didn't enjoy that.
So yeah. Last thing I enjoyed, the fat lady. She was cool. At least cool to me.
Just a random moment.
Yeah. Once again, in this movie, there was a guy named Steve who was an asshole. It fits. God damn it.
Which is weird to see Ty Burley play the asshole.
What do you mean? It worked perfectly.
Yeah, but he's always such like characters he tends to play are more goofy from what I have always seen with him. So like this movie has always stood out in my mind because of him. Because anytime I see him in anything else, at least that I've seen him in, he's to memory at least. Because I've seen Black Hawk Down, but I don't remember him being in it. But there are certain things like Incredible Hulk. He plays Leonard, who is supposed to become the dude who has like the green hair and is part of the Hulk family. Okay. Anyways, I digress. But he's also in Modern Family, and other stuff, and he always plays kind of a more like pluckier character. You know what I mean?
I hear you. Yeah.
But I mean, this one always stands out because he's just an asshole.
Well, this is the 5th movie he was ever in. So this could have been early on. Actually, this was just the 5th thing he was ever in because this is only the 3rd movie he's ever been in at the time. He wasn't typecast yet as the kind of good guy.
Ugh, sorry, yawn.
No worries. But yeah.
I'll give you your popcorn.
All right, popcorns. This movie, just because it's a nice, solid favorite of mine. I know there's a lot of flaws with it, though. So I'm just going to give it a nice, humble 8.5.
Jesus
I'm kidding.
Christ.
I'm kidding. I'm genuinely kidding. It's going to be a 7.5.
I was going to type it in, but
No,
I was like,
I was genuinely joking.
Hell. You bitch at me.
Yeah.
One of the highest ratings he would have given this year.
I've given some 9s and a 9.5. Thank you.
To Lord of the Rings and Dunkirk and 1917. Your only other high ratings other than those that have breached the 8. So you had 1917 at a 9.5. You have, keep scrolling, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship at 9.5, Two Towers at 9, Return at 9. Indiana Jones Raiders at 8. Blade Runner at 8.5. Holes at 8. Honey Boy at 8. And there's a long stretch of nothing. I'm still scrolling, don't worry. 8.5 for Big Hero 6.
Yeah, I gave some higher ratings.
Rarely. Steven, how many movies have we reviewed this year?
A lot. But you know, at the end of this year, we'll probably have a heavy hitter. I don't know. I really don't. uh, I,
And then we had the 2 weeks of cancellation. You did give I Am Mother an 8.
I enjoyed that one.
I know. Dark Knight,
Parasite.
8.5, and Rise is an 8.
Could you imagine me giving this the
Parasite,
same rating
8.5.
as Parasite?
Yes, I can, just to piss me off. I'm giving it a 5.5. I probably would have given it a 6.5, but point off.
Yeah.
So, but that averaged out to 6.5.
Yeah. I told you would like this movie better, statistically. Just kidding.
I mean, statistically, yeah, I like this one better, but there's just a campiness to the other one that I kind of adore, I
Mhm.
guess, is the best way to put it. That kind of, there's a campiness like the fucking, like, older Fast and Furious movies. Campiness, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
I
weird.
hear you.
So we haven't done it in a while. Let's get ready to compare and contrast.
It's just gonna be the one graphic for 2004.
Yeah.
Or for the spoilers for 2009.
Just copy the text.
I'm
Move it over. Lucky it's just a copy and paste.
Nope, I'm gonna do it the hard way.
You're creating another?
Nope, I copied it. Oh, I mean, I
Oh.
added the old version in just on a new thing.
Oh. So comparing the two, yes, the new one's better, but I don't know if it's better, or if it's just like, it's better.
For me, it's soundly better. Like, it's more cohesive of a story. It has more entertaining bits to it, to me at least. And I personally don't really like the campiness. I thought the campiness really took me out of the 1978 movie. Because, like, when I think of zombies, I think of them as this inevitable, unstoppable killing machine where, like, sure, you can hold them off, but they'll get you eventually. Like, it's almost guaranteed that a zombie will kill you eventually in most of these.
That are the people.
Yeah, in most of these movies. Especially because in this movie, they're like, so, like, they don't give a crap about the zombies in the 1978 version for most of the time. Like, they'll run around them, they'll play tricks with them, they'll literally pie them and seltzer them in the face. But then 5 minutes later, they're all being devoured by zombies because it's like, oh, we're zombies! Ha ha! You thought you could get the best of us. So it just is like very mixed messages.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just like comparing the two, I would say that, like, this one's definitely better. But I guess my problem is they're both not what I would personally consider good.
I hear ya.
I guess is the long and short of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I would consider they're just more amazing. There are more zombie movies I'd rather watch than this. So I don't know. It's just kind of to me. Both of them are kind of to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, in the grand scheme, so I'd rather just there are other movies I'd rather watch.
I hear ya. Hear ya.
Oh, there's other Zack Snyder films I would rather watch.
You mean like the Snyder Cut?
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Genuinely, I can't wait to watch that fucking movie.
I hope it actually makes the movie good and then completely reignites the original series again. So then they're like, do we want to reset the universe with the Flashpoint paradox?
We'll talk about in
Snooze. We have more to talk about in Snooze now. Yay!
I'll talk about a couple of things that I found out about. So
okay, nice. Let's see. Yeah, I don't really know what else to compare because we kind of did that when we were discussing them genuinely in the middle. When other than, let's see, things other than I don't know. Yeah, talked about the lot.
It's just kind of weird. there are movies I'd rather I enjoy more. So I don't really
Can you name a zombie movie off the top of your head you would prefer to watch over this one?
Shaun of the Dead.
Which one?
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead. Okay.
28 weeks later.
Okay.
Resident Evil.
Funny because I would much rather watch this over 28 weeks later. Hmm. Sorry, I'm hungry too.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah,
I'd
okay.
rather watch 28 weeks later because I think it's just a more entertaining movie overall.
Like I'd probably watch 28 days later over Dawn of the Dead,
That's fair.
but not
I'd probably
28
watch
weeks.
that one too. I'd watch either or before it.
Oh, or maybe even I Am Legend,
I don't consider that one a zombie movie.
vampire movie.
No,
It
it's a bad book adaptation,
really is.
which will work into the next book club maybe. Who knows?
Book club. Oh.
I don't know. It's these two movies are just kind of in that weird gray area that they're just movies I'd rather watch.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, I'm disappointed, but
Bitch, you'd rather watch fucking Man of Steel over fucking like Captain America. So your disappointment.
that one's kind of hard to
The
say.
fact you're debating it just proves my point. You fuck.
Like, I mean, the original Captain America. I'm just kidding. I'm fucking with you in that instance. I was about to say I can see the rage boiling. Your face is already red. All right. I guess there's nothing else really that I want to compare them. Just it's genuinely just the tone that's the difference, because one actually takes the zombie horror type seriously, while the other one occasionally takes it seriously.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's that. I guess we're off to the news.
Off to the news.
Easy. So
I'll start with mine real quick just because I don't have the link, so you have time to set that stuff up.
okay, I don't know.
Oh, fair enough. A rumor is Michael Keaton is apparently attached to a Batman Beyond series.
Okay.
So I'm in. And apparently there's reshoots for some more reshoots for the Snyder Cut.
Okay.
And apparently Batfleck might sign on to do more stuff afterwards.
I heard that too. Like I already actually heard rumors that he was gonna do more, but
Well, he's gonna do the Flash movie after that. Not 100% sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm down. But there's also talk of having a Batman and Superman movie with Robert Pattinson's Batman. So that would mean you'd need a new Superman for that universe, which I think is too convoluted.
Mm-hmm. They'll just do the Rise of Supermen, so there'll be multiple Supermen.
And then you have to do the Rise of Batman.
That might be too much.
Because there's too many Batmen. Because we're gonna have. Because by the way, Michael Keaton's supposed to show up apparently in the Flash movie now.
Isn't Jared Leto also showing up in the Batman, the Snyder Cut?
No. Yes. Snyder Cut.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with it. I know not everyone likes Leto's Joker, and I mean, I think when we watched it, I think our complaint with his Joker was that we didn't get enough of it because we don't really understand his Joker. You can't. My big problem with his Joker is you can't compare his Joker to the other Jokers
because there's not enough of him on screen.
Yeah, there's not enough of him being the Joker, so he feels like an afterthought in Suicide Squad. Because the original storyline. So I watch Kind of Funny, and during their in review of the DCEU, they talked about Greg Miller went on his big spiel.
Yeah.
Where he did talk about what was supposed to happen with a lot of the DCEU stuff. The um, Suicide Squad was supposed to tie in to Justice League with Enchantress like teaming up with a new god, um,
Okay.
which would have tied into Steppenwolf, one of the new gods of Apocalypse.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that would have worked better because then you set up Leto's Joker to show up in that. Maybe he have him do something where he steals like a mother box or something. Um, tie it in better, and that means that Batman has to go after him. There's just a lot that could have been done better to set it up, but they freaked out. Warner Brothers freaked out after Batman v Superman.
A
They
bit, yeah.
panicked.
I mean,
They
they also
straight
didn't
up
do
fucking
justice to that
panicked.
movie either. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, like the fact that like, and this is, I'm not trying to completely discredit Zack Snyder because I do think the extended edition of Batman v Superman is a all right movie.
mhm.
Theatrical cut, I hate. I don't like the theatrical cut because it cuts too much that just makes certain things just feel like loose threads. There's so many loose threads through that don't go anywhere. Um, but there, like, I wanted, I do like the idea of seeing his vision out. I don't agree with his vision. I don't
Mhm.
like his Man of Steel. But I like Henry Cavill as Superman. I think he's a good choice for Superman.
Okay.
Um, because like in Justice League, we have moments, and we talked about it when we reviewed it, where there are moments where Henry Cavill's Superman feels like Superman.
Mhm.
And I'm like, yes, this is what we needed. Um, it just sucks that it took death of Superman in BVS for that to happen. So I'm hoping we get more of that. We're gonna get Black Suit Superman as well. We're gonna get more with the future timeline stuff and Flash doing the stuff that was rumored that he was supposed to do in the original cut. There's gonna be a lot of stuff that was left on the cutting room floor of the original cut that's gonna be in this because it's gonna be 4 fucking hours. It's gonna be 4 1-hour parts, and I'm okay with that because it's essentially a 4 episode series.
Mhm.
Um, which I think works as a way to reset this as being like, hey, this is what's happening. Because it also works that you could replace either or Justice League for your universe and still have certain things play out differently, right? You can go off of a way that both of those still work in a way while having your Shazam, your Aquaman 2, stuff like that.
Yeah, I hear you, and I do agree with you. Oh, they're opening up in front of our
So
faces.
I'm interested to see what happens. I don't know. It's just interesting.
That is kind of interesting. Like I'm not necessarily like, oh my goodness, I can't wait for the Snyder cut, and I can't wait for all these things.
Oh, I can't wait to find out if it's good or bad. Like
Mhm.
that is genuinely my biggest reason for wanting to see it. I want to see if it's gonna be good or it's gonna be bad. When's this supposed to be out? That's next year, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
I think our biggest question for that one will, for us as a show, we'll discuss this more off the scenes, but I think it's a good question just to throw out there. How do you review it?
As its
Do you
own.
wait? Do you review each part as its own thing? Or will we devote an entire episode to just going over it? Because that's gonna be an episode.
It would probably end up having to be something like that, honestly, or else
Because
we'd
it
have to
would be
do
an
like,
endgame thing.
yeah, or else otherwise we would be doing like 30-minute mini podcasts each week. Like, okay, this is what we thought of this. This is what we thought of
Honestly, I
this.
feel like that show's gonna be one of our longer ones too.
Almost definitely.
Because there's gonna be so much for us to talk about.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's just it's curious because nothing like this has happened, and honestly, with as awful as COVID is, it's almost weirdly the perfect time for something like that to happen for HBO because it's invested people being like, oh, maybe I'll get HBO Max now. I'm gonna watch it for the Snyder cut.
Hmm.
I'll see what else is on there real quick. And there's a lot of good stuff on there. Um, but like it's one of those things that I think works out really well for HBO in this because they have the advantage of, hey, we're gonna have the Snyder cut. And there's a lot of idiots who want to see it. And nothing like this has happened. No one has had the chance to completely redo the movie that they started, left, because they were kind of kicked off of.
Hmm.
Um, and then get to come back and redo it with more money, again, invested into it, and make it double the fucking length and release it on streaming platforms. It's just a very unique experience that we're going to have. Um, which is weird that both the superhero movies, like superhero franchises of this era, are going to create the two craziest experiences that we can have cinematically. Endgame and then this
Kind of disappointing
recently.
to
What
me.
the fuck?
Like, don't get me wrong, superhero movies are great, but there's just a lot of superhero movies, man. I want something that's not a superhero movie making like major history thing. But that's just
Well, I
me
mean, like
being
you have films
prejudiced.
like Inception and stuff like that, like Nolan's style and stuff that does that too.
Hmm.
But like, I don't know if it can be done anymore in the sense of like where it's gonna be the same size of this. Because like the thing that the thing I'm talking about is like cinematic once in a lifetime experiences. Like The Empire Strikes Back is a once in a lifetime theater experience.
Hmm.
That is something I would get a time travel to do. I would love to be in the theater, to just be in the audience and experience what that's like for the Vader reveal. Because we will never understand that moment. The closest we will get is Endgame going in there and having the Mjolnir moment. Because that was some of the hypest shit.
That was pretty damn
Like,
hype.
God, I love, like, normally, like, you don't want, like, theater loudness.
Hmm.
But, dude, just this pure energy that that movie gives off. You can't help but cheer with everyone else. I couldn't. I still go back and listen to the like YouTube recordings of Endgame, like the
Hmm.
final moments of Endgame, and just listen to the crowd going, "Yeah!" And I'm like, yes, take me back to my happy place.
There is no happy place, only Zool.
Yeah, right. I don't know. It's just I don't know if there's a way to have those kind of theater experiences, if that makes sense, without build up now.
Hmm.
And the places that have the most build up now are superhero franchises.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, other than like TV shows, but then the problem is they're not super dramatic and you're not with a bunch of people.
And you have the fact that you lose viewers every season.
Hmm. Like, man,
Most
the
times.
Battle of the Bastards in Game of Thrones uh, was a monumental thing leading up.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
fantastic.
But at the same time, it's like not many people will talk about that in the future.
Well, I think part of that issue with a TV show is that like we probably won't talk about Battle of the Bastards as much because of how Game of Thrones ends. But we'll talk about like episodes of Breaking Bad because that show through and through is good. Even it's debatably the bad episode, The Fly, is argued as the bad episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's argued about as it being a bad episode, which I think is fantastic. The problem with Game of Thrones is that final season just throws everything that's been worked on into the dump.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. It's unique. I'm interested to see what this experience is gonna be because we've never had something like it before.
Hmm. All right.
All right, your news.
All right. I had two quick things. Continuing on the horror train hype. Um, YouTube star FaZe Rug is working on a movie called Crimson, and it's going to be a horror film. And the reason I bring that up is because YouTube influencers being a part of major productions is kind of interesting. I wouldn't say important because I don't think it's going to be a thing that happens often, honestly. But this one particularly, I feel like he's just going to be playing himself in this movie because it says the film in which which starts streaming, I think today actually, on invis.tv, follows FaZe Rug, who plays himself, it says that here, moving into a multi-billion-dollar home, his own home that he buys after his success as an online influencer. And what would typically begin with a YouTube vlog highlighting his new house quickly turns into a horror movie thanks to his neighbors.
See, I think it's kind of cool that we're getting more of the crossover though. Like you have like people like King Bach showing up in a lot more movies now.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've noticed that, but he was a Vine star, dude. Like, and now he's showing up in movies. You have what's her name? Dated David Dobrik. Fuck, I can't remember her name now.
Yeah, she
Uh,
wasn't one like that group is not one of the people I followed.
no, that's fair, but like, hold on, I feel bad doing this. Uh, Liza Koshy. There we
Okay.
go. But like she's crossing over a lot too. Like there's a lot of people. It's cool seeing the crossover happen. Because like a lot of the old guard of cinema and entertainment hate online entertainment.
Yes, absolutely.
So seeing people break through that ceiling of, oh, you're an online entertained person, you don't count.
Hmm.
Get out of here. Like, fuck that. They could be genuinely as good as anyone else on that screen. So I think it's cool to break that. Like, it's not necessarily a glass ceiling. It's more of a, um, I'd say it's more of a like barrier that has been put up by the old guard. So I think that's awesome to see that he made an entire movie.
Hmm. Yeah, it seems really interesting. I feel like if it's gonna be vlog style, where it's like, yo, bro, it's gonna be all found footage. So I'm expecting like a mixture of paranormal activity and oh, what was that movie that we watched? Or no, we didn't end up watching the movie where Samuel Jackson plays the police officer neighbor who's like trying to murder his new room neighbors. Yeah. Seems like a mixture of that. Maybe mix The Purge in there if you want, I guess.
I don't remember this.
Okay.
I believe it's real. I just don't remember it.
Yeah, no worries. Let's see. So moving on, two other things of news. Um, Staying on the horror train though. This is old news. I'm not sure how much of it is still in the works, but in February of this year, towards the end of February, beginning of March, like, it was announced that Zack Snyder was going to be working on another zombie movie called Army of the Dead. It was going to be a Netflix. It's going to be a Netflix exclusive at some point, and a lot of people are speculating that it's a direct sequel to Dawn of the Dead here. Um, it's hard to say, especially with COVID, because this was pre-COVID when this news broke, and especially this was pre-confirmation of Snyder Cut happening. So it's probably something that's been placed on the back burner for now, if I had to guess. But I look forward to it because I enjoyed this.
Oh, I know, and it's definitely up there for what you would be into. So
Mhm.
I see that being something you want. So, and I'd watch it. So I'd be interested in that.
Yeah.
So
And then the last bit of news. Have you heard about Borat 2?
yes,
Yeah.
are we gonna go over the political controversy or just in general that it's definitely damn.
No, neither. I mean, I want to
Okay.
watch it because
I just want to see it too.
yeah, I look in. I'm interested to see what happens because Sacha Baron Cohen and the last Borat movie were very much uh, uh it's an acquired taste of comedy to say the least. And yes, there's political controversy happening with it. But the part that I wanted to talk about is that Sacha Baron Cohen actually made a donation to one of the people that worked on the set, Janice Jones's hometown, somewhere in Oklahoma. It says here that he donated $100,000 to Borat's subsequent movie film, babysitter Janice Jones' community of Oklahoma. At first reported by People magazine, the money will be distributed by the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Oklahoma City at Jones's request to provide shelter and food to community members.
See, Sacha Baron Cohen is such like a weird entity of being this like genuinely good guy who does some just bizarre
Mhm.
things. I adore him for that. So like, and that's just another thing I adore him for doing. Oh, that's cool. That's a good story. I like that being our endpoint.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that, Steven. Good job.
You're welcome. I found actual nice news.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, there's that. That's our endpoint. Do we want to talk about next week? Of course we want to talk about next week.
Well, yeah, we're gonna talk about next month. Book
Yes.
club.
Book club.
Oh,
I have the graphic
club.
up.
We're gonna do so going into next week, our connector of why it's been 3 zombies in a row. We did Rob Zombie, then Zombies, and then book club starting out with World War Z and Fight Club because Brad Pitt movies, but the zombies the connector.
Yeah.
Then on the 9th,
this is the week.
Birthday, actually.
This week is obviously the one where I will give a movie a 10 very clearly.
I fucking hope you do. I will fucking kill you. We're doing Aragon and the Golden Compass. 16th, we're doing Snowpiercer and Annihilation as like post-apocalyptic style movies. Then the 23rd, we're finishing off because we started the Hunger Games, so we're gonna do Hunger Games 3 Part 1 and Part 2, and then we're gonna do Maze Runner 2, 3, and 4.
Because we started Maze Runner, so we're gonna finish it.
Yes. We're closing the book, you could say, a couple places.
That way we can never be like, oh, we still have to finish. No, we don't. Yeah, we're gonna finish those.
Yeah, we're gonna finish those because I mean we have enough other things open on the docket, like shit. So yeah, with that, that's what we're doing next month, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little sad that we're moving out of this month. Because, you know, I like this month. It was great. Perfect for me. It was awful for you. It was perfect for me. I couldn't have wanted a better month.
I didn't give higher than a 7.5 this month. Oh, I gave Parasite an 8. Never mind. Forgot about that. I gave Parasite an 8, but that's like the ceiling of this, and then my low is a 1.5. Oof. This month was all over the fucking place.
It was great. We hit horror classics and
I
horror
enjoyed
remakes.
it. There's some horror movies that I really enjoyed that we watched. So again, like I didn't dislike this month. So
I'm still the thing I am now least looking forward to is our conversation that we had about December. What
we're doing for that?
Yeah. You know,
let's see how this goes.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I got nothing else today, unless you've got anything else you want to talk about.
I got nothing else.
All right, so I guess we're done here. So you know, hit the likes, subscribes, ding, dangs, dongs, and whatnot, fun things, and yeah. Thanks for being here. Sorry we weren't here on our original day. We'll have that fixed.
Yeah, it was completely. To explain that real quick, it was completely out of Steven's control. Brownout fucking sucked.
It was like
it happened late Sunday night, right? And so the entire next day was me and him kind of like texting occasionally, being
whenever
like,
I could get a signal,
going like, "So, any word?" Nope.
Sorry, I'm yelling. It helps the signal go through.
7 o'clock that night, like 8 o'clock, when he's like, "I got my power back." And then so the rest of this week was us being like, "Okay, so what day? And just trying to figure out if we could do another one, like do the makeup this week. Because I mean, there was zero way for us to really be able to back up on that one because everyone pretty much works on Monday, so you can't really get everyone to be like, "Hey, watch these movies real quick."
Yeah.
And then review them. So it's just, again, it's tough to do these shows with real life around.
Yeah, that was really dumb. I hated it. Yeah, it was 7 p.m. when the power went out on Sunday, and then 24 hours later, they're like, I guess we can give everyone their power back. And the weird part is they gave us their power back when the area that they turned the power off for was still having the problems that they turned the power off for. They turned it off for high winds, but the winds were still a problem when we got our power back. So I was like, what was the point? Oh, frustrating. But whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see you next week for more
hopefully
zombies.
On time.
Yeah, hopefully on time on Monday at 6 p.m. for you know, World War Z and Fight Club. Brad Pitt week. Woo. Yeah. Bye everybody.
Bye.
Bye. And don't forget, the first rule of critically casual is always talk about critically casual.